As the mankind passes on, they become the multitudes of stars looking down upon us. I welcome you all here today to acknowledge the passing of Murray and to celebrate his life. My name is Mike Rogers, I'm Vicky's son, and I'm honoured and privileged to MC today's celebration of Murray's life. Today's service is really about marking his life. My intention is to keep it casual, and I'd love nothing more to hear all of your stories about your time with Murray. In terms of the service itself, we'll start with the eulogy, which Karen and I will share in two parts. We'll sing after each part, so please help us out there. Refer to your little booklets in terms of the lyrics. We've been practicing for days and we still sound like shit. So you guys are going to have to help us out. Some more of us than others, and no doubt you'll hear some of that later on. We'll then hear from the grandchildren, so they'll get up and speak, watch a slideshow of some of Murray's memories, and then we'll open the floor for you all to contribute. Now, there's a caveat with that. So this portai here is the hat that Murray would wear when he was in his Pontiac. So Guy was the driver on the way in from the farm today, he was wearing it. If you see me put it on when you're speaking, that means that you've got about 15 seconds to wrap it up. We've all been to funerals and tangies where one person gets up and speaks for 15 minutes, and today's not going to be that day. So if you see me put the hat on, probably time to start summarising things. However, it can't be used on me, and as my father will attest, I'm definitely a bit of a storyteller and I love a bit of shit chat. Okay, so there's been plenty of shit chat going down at the farm over the last few days, and I'll do my very best to keep that to a minimum for you guys today. Also notorious for being inappropriate at the wrong times and swearing. Okay, so my goal today is not to say the F or the C word for an hour, which will probably be the first time in my life. So on a more serious note, got the phone call at about 6 o'clock on Tuesday, and on my drive over here, after hearing the news, I started thinking about what I'd like to say today. And for those of you who know me, will know that my mum is the centre of my universe. I owe everything to my mum, and for me there's nothing more important than knowing that Murray looked after my mum. He supported mum's dreams, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, and they shared an amazing 23 years together. In turn, my mum loved and cared for Murray, and the level of that love was clearly evident when I arrived at the farm. The scene was one of undeniable love, care, sorrow, loss and shock. That memory will forever be etched in my mind. And the way I kind of think about it is if life was a competition to find the man that was most loved by his partner, Murray would win hands down. I'd like to hand it over to Karen to share the first part of the eulogy.
Welcome everybody. I didn't think I would be having to stand up here quite so soon to do this. But firstly, Vicky, from both the Scott and Simon's families, extended families, we send our deepest sympathies to you and your families at this time, and thank you for being part of our lives. Murray John Scott, son of the late Margaret and Ivan Scott, is the first of 6 children. Murray was born in Paeatua and raised a few kilometres away in the small farming community of Mangatinoka, which is well known for the Tui Brewery and the Tui Cheese Factory, the only 2 real places of employment outside of farming. He attended Mangatinoka Primary School and later went to Taurua College in Paeatua, some 5 kilometres away. At the conclusion of his school years, Murray joined his father and became a cheesemaker at the cheese factory and worked there for many years. He later married, had 2 children, and soon after that transferred to the Balance Cheese Factory closer to his American home. He played rugby for the local rugby club with his mates Johnny Wongsus, Peter Croot, Terry Yates and Marcus Buckley, all good mates. Murray kept in touch with them throughout his life. As a family, we did a lot together around surrounding farms. Murray would take us eeling, camping. He made sure that he had the lamb's tails to cook on the campfire. They were a highlight and they were delicious. He would take us motorbike riding. He would babysit us at the swimming hole of the Mangatinoka River. That was famous for trout fishing in those days. Today there's barely any water. Murray worked hard and his goal was to buy a Big Flash motorbike. He did buy that. He did buy what seemed to be a large motorbike, a 600cc old bike back in the day. It was a beautifully crafted machine. I was a bit of a tomboy in those days, and one day while he was at work, I thought I'd have a go at learning to ride it. There was only one problem. It was a hell of a lot bigger than me. I turned it around to face the driveway. I managed to get up on it, leaning onto the wood shed. And the wood box in the carport as a support. Next thing, I was off. I headed up the road, making my way to our grandparents' house along the metal road. Oh, so very proud of myself. Next thing, I'm in the loose metal, unable to control the beast, and now I'm in the drain. I knew then I was in big trouble. I went home, cuts all over me, and a burn from the exhaust pipe. Never got on that boy again. Murray lived in a back children's property in his late teens, wanted some privacy. He would sit in there, belting out tunes from Solid Rock Volume 3, Delta Dawn, etc. I guess those were the days. There's a lot to be thankful for of Murray, and I remember vividly one incident in particular. Murray woke up in the early hours one morning and our beloved dog Patch was yelping, and this carried on for a little while. It was very unusual. So he got out of his bed only to find himself in 2 feet of water. The poor old Patch had climbed the fence as far as he could to survive. Murray, the great swimmer that he was, swam out and released him from his chain. Thank God for that. He woke up in time. All of our school years ended. When our school years ended, the majority of us children moved away to gain employment. Jeffrey and I went to Wellington. Jennifer remained in Paeatua for a couple of years before moving to Melbourne, where she still lives today. Sister Delwyn resides there as well. Jeffrey is retired to Thailand with his Kiwi wife for the foreseeable future. Bevan continues to live in Masterton and I in Auckland. Murray, we may not have seen a lot of each other, a lot of you in person, but we were always on the phone and catching up when we could. Colin and I were thrilled to have spent that night with yourself and Vicky before Christmas. chatting about the good times and asking each other, where are they all now? And so, Murray, my heart feels empty. You've left a huge void in our lives and gone way too soon. We could not have predicted this forecast, nor could we have written this script. There was no time to say a real goodbye, but just know that you'll be forever in our hearts and thoughts. As you know, we were supposed to be together last Friday to inter our parents' ashes. We will miss you dearly in person, but remember you fondly as we place these ashes once again in their rightful resting place. This is not goodbye. This is giving you our permission to take extended leave to visit the rest of those who have gone before you. And may you enjoy your new resting place above the white fluffy clouds, and make sure you are the mediator when they are playing cards, because all of them cheated in those days, especially your father. Rest in peace.
I first came across Murray, I was down the Cosy Club in Taupo with Mum in mid-2000. After a few glasses of wine, Mum came over to me to tell me that there was a dashing young man at the Cosy that she had her eye on. I kid you not. I was starting to wonder whether I was the 20-year-old or Mum was. She was all giddy and excited by the fact that he was there. Obviously some water must have gone under the bridge as 6 months later, Mum invited me and my then partner over for a movie night to meet her new partner, Murray. The entire concept was super weird, as we were never really a movie night type of family. We literally said hello to each other, watched the movie, and then left and said goodbye. So I told Mum the next day that I didn't think it'd last 5 minutes if he couldn't have a conversation with me. But upon reflection, who organises a movie night as a meet and greet? All very weird and awkward, and as a super protective eldest son, Murray was on a hiding to nothing, to be fair. Murray obviously lasted a lot longer than 5 minutes and became a much loved member of our whānau. It wasn't long before Mum and Murray moved in together at Heathcote Street in Taupo, with Mum managing the Winds office and Murray working at Vandermill. Next stop was Wellington in 2004, with Mum accepting a role down there with NUSD, and Murray picked up a job at Northpac ITM, and within a couple of years he became the manager there. Murray worked there for 8 years and really loved the role and its challenges, and Mum and Murray built a really good life there, down there in the Windy City. I guess the key point about this whole journey to Wellington was this was Mum's dream. I think she had ambitions to be the next Jacinda Ardern and head down to Wellington and take things over. But thankfully she saw the light and they only stayed down there for 8 years. But how cool is that to go and support your partner with their dream to go and move to another city where you knew nobody? And probably the one thing that swung it was Murray was an avid Hurricanes fan, but I don't think they won too many games when you guys were down there anyway. Probably my highlight of Wellington was the Wellington Sevens. It was the biggest party in the world at the time, and we went 5 years in a row. Most of the time someone spewed in Mama Murray's garden, yahooing. I think my brother might have had a fight at the train station at one point there. So yeah, there was lots happening. It was pretty cool time to be in Wellington. Next stop was Rotorua in 2012, where Mum accepted a role with ACC and Murray at Hume Pine. A big change of lifestyle was the driver with Mum and Murray purchasing their first lifestyle block on Jackson Road with 10 acres to keep them busy. It was really awesome to have Mum and Murray much closer to home, with the grandkids being the huge beneficiaries, riding motorbikes, feeding lambs, and generally loving the rural life. Murray moved back to Vanderbilt in 2014 before accepting a role at Oregon ITM in the Mount from 2015 onwards. In 2016, Mum and Murray decided to take a punt and moved on to a larger farm of 40 acres on Te Wairinga Road. Altea being Hereford stud was born, with the farm breeding around 20 purebred Hereford cattle per year. The farm has definitely been a big commitment, but one that Mum and Murray have really loved. There's obviously been lots of other life moments that have taken place over the last 20 years or so I thought I'd chuck them in a few categories. Grandkids. Murray absolutely adored his grandkids. On our side of the family, there are now 9 grandkids: Carter, Millie, Shaden, Frankie, Kahu, Adia, Connor, Jackson and Eden. They all know about Koro's slipper, his chair, his chicken wings, his dogs, and sometimes his grumpiness. I think of all the grandkids, they've all been the beneficiary of the grumpiness at some point in time, and there's generally always a bit of a favourite system going on, so the younger ones have probably bore the brunt of that over the last few years. The dogs. Murray loved his dogs. Sometimes there are more dogs than people at the farm, so anybody who's been up to pay their respects in the last few days is very overwhelming. There's about 20 dogs there, 20 to 30 whānau, and obviously the confronting nature of what's happened, so it's an absolute madhouse. Luke, Indy, Rosie and Harley, Mum and Dad's water collies. Travel. I must say when I met Murray, he never struck me as an intrepid traveller. I think he was pretty happy with round of golf, maybe a bit of fishing and spending a lot of time down the Cozzy. But things changed over the years, and Mum and Murray have done heaps of travel together. Close to home, Samoa, Aussie, Rarotonga, Fiji, Great Barrier Reef, further afield, Bali, Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai, Vietnam, the UK, the list goes on, South America, and the last trip due to COVID was 4 weeks in a camper van together around the South Island. I really loved 2 parts of that. One was Murray was a keen planner, and so it was always good to yarn to him about what was happening next. He'd do a lot of research, and then also sharing the memories when they returned home and we could sit around over a beer and have a laugh about their experiences. Projects. For those of you who know Murray will know that he loves a project and he loves his toys. The Altea Glen Brewhouse. Only to put down 3 brews. Beautiful setup, would never let me come along and take that even though clearly I drink a lot of beer. The boat, the digger, not sure if the digger's even been operational, it's just sitting in the chute. The Pontiac Granville, golf, and most recently the Green Mountain Grill, his pride and joy, the smoker. We all know that what Murray enjoyed most about his projects was the research and the legwork, as every 2 years another project would come along. Interestingly enough, when going through the wardrobe over the past few days, we found a motorbike helmet, so one can only assume that Murray's next big project was going to be a Harley. Weird stuff. There is no doubt that there are some really weird things about Murray. That was supposed to be a joke, she goes. Murray was the only person in New Zealand still reading the Sunday news religiously. He would travel all the way to Invercargill for a good trading bargain. No one was ever allowed to sit on his chair. His love for cow tongue. Koro's slipper and watching the news religiously at extremely high levels of TV volume. I was definitely stitched up on the chicken wing story, so unbeknown to me, my siblings didn't know that chickens had wings. Because every time Murray would roast a chicken, he would take the 2 wings and he'd eat them in the kitchen before the chicken would go out onto the table. And we were at Jackson Road and Murray roasted a chicken and I was in the kitchen sniffing around and I just started eating one of the chicken wings. Nobody told me, I was told later clearly, but Murray was far from impressed that I was the first person ever in the history of chickens that ate his chicken wings. The other story that kind of struck me was we travelled down to watch the Hurricanes play at the Mangatainoka brewery. In a pre-season game, we stayed at the whānau house next door. And it was just really cool to go back there and connect to Murray's upbringing. We went to Pahia Tour for beers. There's a few stories about that we'll save probably for tonight. And it was just really awesome to see his connection to that place. He did speak of it fondly, but it's different when you go there. We managed to get a corporate box, which was in a stock trailer behind the posts, unlimited tui. We certainly filled our boots that day and made some more memories. Murray, I know I speak for everyone in our whānau when I say that we had an awesome ride with you being part of our family over the past 23 years. I'm so happy for my mum that she was all giddy at the Cosy that night, and because of that we all had the pleasure of having you in our lives. Life is not fair, mate, you've been taken too soon. And I promise you that we'll look after Mum as well as you did. Love you. I did say you guys that our singing was pretty average, but I appreciate a little bit of help that we did today, so I'd just like to call on the grandkids to come up. They're going to share a few of their thoughts. It's going to be really tough for them, eh? So just try and give them a little bit of support if we can.
time has come, your worries are over, lay down and rest your head. The cows are fed, the sun has set, put your tractor in the shed. Years were not easy, many down right hard, but your faith in life transcended. Put away your tools, sleep in peace, the fences have all been mended. You raised a fine family, the land well, worked the land well, and always followed the sun. Hang up your shovel inside the barn, your work on earth is done. If love could build a stairway and the memories build a lane, we would run right up to heaven and bring you back again. We love you, Connor, more than you know, but the time has come. We must let you go.
Just remember the times when you used to take us at the old house down into the hills. We'd go shoot rabbits and possums. And when you missed, got angry at us because it was our fault for being too loud. And then when we get home, we didn't get any rabbits that night. The slipper would always come out and we'd get curly with it.